Hi, I'm Cameron. You might know that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're new here. Or maybe you're not. That's not the point. However, I hope you're doing better than I am right now. Tonight is a special bedtime special. Why is it a bedtime special? Because I always have a hard time falling asleep at night. And I was anxious about something and I wanted to share that. We have Chombo here to accompany us today. I love Chombo very much. He's a good friend of mine. I have my Pac-Man pajamas on. We're living it up. So, I have always done a really horrible job of working with other people. When I was a little child, a young little youngin', I never did well in sports. I think I maybe didn't get struck out in kickball one time. Anytime I tried to play basketball, really didn't like it very much. Now, a lot of that comes from my manual dexterity. I had no hand-eye coordination, and there was always this sort of pressure that I was never able to really overcome. And that's the fear of letting people down. Now, I remember when I was in high school, someone was on the basketball team or the football team. Since I live in a small town in the Midwest, those two are the exact same group of people, so it's irrelevant. It doesn't really actually matter that much which one it was. But someone was like, Cameron, you should go out for the sports team. We could really use someone like you. And I thought, why? I'm stupid. I'm terrible at sports. And then I kind of said to him, I don't really want to do that because when I mess up, that means everybody loses, so it's my fault. And I always feel really terrible about that. And that's kind of the reality of it, I mean, I played baseball a lot when I was a kid, and I literally do not think I ever made it home a single time. I was always out in right field, and the one time they put me somewhere where balls actually went to me, I wasn't ready to catch it because I was used to being in right field. So I'm probably sitting there, like sucking on my thumb or something like that. The ball comes at me and I almost catch it, but I don't. I don't catch it. And then I get put straight back into right field where I just kind of sit there and don't really do anything because no balls ever go that way. Yeah, wasn't a big fan of that. So, how does this relate to the modern age where a jobless NEET like myself doesn't exactly work on a team? Well, because having a job in of itself is a part of working on a team. And at my last job, which I'm sure most of you are here because I quit, so you know a decent bit about how bad that job was, it was very frustrating being a part of an environment where I was a part of a team and the way in which I carried myself was significantly different than the rest of the team. Where when I'm working, I know this is going to be hard for a lot of you to believe, I'm a very serious person. I show up, I do my job, and then I go home. That's the extent of it. Now, I don't mean to tread old ground, but I haven't watched that I quit my job today video in maybe about 3 months since I made it. So I apologize if any of this sounds familiar, and if it doesn't, good. You're in good company. But people get the wrong impression when you're a very serious person. They think that you're stuck up for some reason, or you don't know how to talk to people, or something like that. And where the frustration is at for me, when it comes to being a part of a team, is when I will do 100% everything that I am told to do. That's my understanding of what it means to have someone in charge. Is they're like your supervisor, they supervise you. Every job I've ever had, I've always done 100% of what I've been told to do. Now, that's not enough though. They want you to be like what's the term they use? It's like a self-leader or something. I don't know. It was like a stupid made up term for like buzzwords to try to like force employees to feel too bad to find a better job. It's like self leaders or something like that. Like you have your own agency or something like that. And whenever that comes up, it's always like, but I wasn't told to do that. And that's frustrating. An example of this would be when I was at the hospital and I was explicitly told not to do anything. Like you just watch the person that you're assigned to figure things out. And the person I was assigned to is like doing normal room checkup things. And then once we finish up in the room, they like confront me. And they're like, "Why didn't you make the bed, Cameron? You've been doing this long enough. You need to know better." And I was like, I was literally told not to do anything, and I'm getting yelled at for not making the bed. It was stupid. It's stupid stuff. Why am I making a YouTube video about this? It's stupid. It's all petty, stupid bullshit. It doesn't matter, right? And at my last job, I would get yelled at for not doing things that I was never told to do. And the short of that is that apparently I wasn't doing half of the work I was supposed to be doing because my trainer literally didn't tell me about it. And then my supervisor literally never corrected me on doing that wrong, but she went and told the rest of the staff that I wasn't doing that on purpose. So, I don't know what there is to gain out of shooting somebody like me in the back for literally no reason. It's not like I knew this person outside of work or anything. But these things all kind of come together in a way that makes it difficult for me to work in a group, you know? And in general, I have this thing where if anyone's voice raises in any context, even if they're like yelling as a joke, I like seize up. I freeze up. I want to say that unironic. Now that I'm sitting here like explaining it, I think it's like a literal definition of a trigger. I guess I don't like saying that word because I feel like it sounds like I'm making excuses for things that I can be an adult and just manage, because, you know, part of being an adult is realizing the world isn't going to be acceptable, full of things that you know, not everything's going to be the way that you want it perfectly. You just got to deal with how awful things are sometimes. But yeah, I guess, you know, you'd probably call it a trigger. I don't know. I was yelled at a lot as a kid. Like, a lot. This is the first time I've kind of started to open up about this stuff on this channel, because I realize that the less I talk about and dance around things, the more power that it's given. But if you come clean about things and you just kind of accept it for what it is and start more openly talking about it, then you can eventually overcome it, you know? Hey, guess what? All you people tell me to get a therapist. That's the same advice a therapist would give you. It's a waste of money. You're welcome. There you go. But I was yelled at a lot when I was a kid. And I specifically, there's one that stands out in my mind specifically. I was, it's one of the earliest memories that I have. So I would have to estimate me as being around 3 years old, since all of my other oldest memories ever are around me being about 3 years old. My dad yelled at me, and he said, "No one will ever like you if you keep acting like that." Now, being 3 years old, I don't really have a concept for consciousness yet. So I can't tell you what it was that I was doing that caused my father to scream that at me at the top of his lungs with his very deep, bassy voice in our small, borderline one-bedroom house that we were staying in at the time. It was a full family of 4. But what I can tell you is that anytime anyone yells, I feel like he is yelling at me. And that's not anybody else's problem. Well, it's not really my problem either. It's not my fault that I have that trauma. That shit's fucking lame, dude. That's not my fault. But it's just something to be aware of. And so, what does this have to do with the whole teamwork angle? It's that A big reason why I could never play on like any teams is that coaches just scream. If you mess up, they'll go like, "What are you doing out there? Drop down!" I literally start crying when that happens. Like, I mean, I get it. It's not like I take it personally or anything like that, but like, I have been in public and around two people when they start yelling at each other, and that's enough to like make me like freeze up a little bit. That puts me into fight or flight mode. So I guess this is like a bonus sequel video why I quit my job at GameStop is because a guy came in and he wanted like a refund on a controller, but he didn't have any of the stuff for the refund. I told him I couldn't take it. He went and got his mom, and this wasn't a kid, it was a guy. Went and got his mom out of the car to scream at me in a foreign language, and the two of them yelled at me and reached at me over the counter, and said they were going to call the police on me. I had a list there. My tongue dragged on my braces. They said they're going to call the police on me, and they threatened me, and they like tried to like punch me and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, this isn't worth $11 an hour. I'm going to die. So that was like horrible. I was like I was shaking after that. Legitimately, if I didn't like call the cops, I went for the phone and they ran out. If I didn't call the cops, I probably would have killed someone. I'm being hyperbolic. That's not a confession of guilt. I've never hurt anybody physically except that guy I choked out in high school because he deserved it. If you're watching this video right now, you know who you are and you deserve that shit. Dealt with your bullshit for 10 years. You got what was coming to you. And that goes for all of you. Like that one guy who like fingered my ass when I was in the bathroom in college, and I elbowed him in the, not college, this is high school. I elbowed him in the jaw, and he was like, "What's your problem, man? I was just messing around." His fingers were in my asshole, and my elbow was in his esophagus, and he felt like he had the right to get mad at me. So I guess that's like kind of all contributes to the whole like not doing well in teams, But regardless of all of these factors that, whether they're my fault or not, some of them very explicitly, some of them not so much. I mean, I'm a grown man, I should be able to tell if somebody's just speaking in a louder tone of voice or if things are meant to be taken personally or not. But quite frankly, I'm horrible at that. I wear my emotions on my sleeve. I take everything personally. Even when people leave comments on these videos saying really horrible things, I take that personally. It has been enough to where I thought, maybe I shouldn't keep making videos, nobody likes these. Even though there's like 30 comments all being like, these are great, thank you for making these. And all it takes is one comment being like, you're a loser and these suck. And it's like de-leveled. It all goes away. So it's hard for someone like me to put myself into a position wherein I'm open to criticism and advice, especially in a context where everyone in that team doesn't necessarily see things the same way. Like, for example, if I'm practicing something, I'm taking it as seriously as I would during the real thing. Now, I knew multiple people in high school and college, although, college people, it's like League of Legends practice or something. It's not physical activity practice. Or singing, whatever. It doesn't matter. Practice. I've known a very large number of people in my life who say things like, practice sucks, I'm not going. And then they wonder why they don't do well during the actual thing. And so it's hard for me to want to practice when the group of people I'm practicing with don't care. And then there comes a different type of problem wherein I look at the quality that I'm putting forward and I realize I'm not doing that good of a job compared to the people who don't practice, people who don't take it seriously. The people who are having fun typically tend to do better than those like me who practice really hard but they can't back it up. And that's because, people who have fun always win. Someone who works hard can never defeat someone who has fun. And for me, I don't have fun working in teams. Because if I mess up, that lets everybody down. if I do something for myself, if I mess up, I don't let myself down because I know I still tried as hard as I possibly could. How it affects anybody else doesn't matter in the slightest. The only thing that matters is whether or not I've worked to my hardest and I've reached a level. If I put everything I have into something and I come out and it doesn't turn out the way that I wanted to, I have nothing to be upset about. I have nothing to feel shame about. Now, of course, this is going to come up eventually, but I may as well finally show it because it's relevant. Tekken. Tekken. It all goes back to Tekken. I forgot you could like plug this thing in. I'm not going to right now. It's too much of a hassle. But when I lose in Tekken, do I feel bad? Yeah. I get frustrated. You know, I might punch my wall or something like that, like a 12-year-old, right? But the frustration in Tekken doesn't arrive from any external factors. It's solely on me. And I mean, I've dealt with people where I beat them and they say that they're better than me. I talked about this in one of my videos. I don't remember which one. Just as a refresher, I beat someone and they had a bloody nose and they screamed, "I think I'm better than you, and you're only winning because you're getting lucky." That guy's a loser. I think if a person says something like that to someone, they're just a bona fide loser. So, shouts in to that guy. You're a loser. I hope you're not watching. You're not gonna watch. Nobody watches this. Come on. That's like mean to go like, "You're a loser. You know who you are." But it's fun, you know. And again, it's not like I'm not talking about anybody in particular. I could be talking about Phil for all you know. Hey, Phil, you know who you are. His name's not Phil. Don't worry about it. But when I lose in Tekken, that's something for me to learn from. That's something for me to grow from. And when I win in Tekken, it's because of the work that I put in. It's because of something that I did for myself and nobody else. And what happens with being on a team is the one specific scenario that I've noticed happen multiple times in being on a team is I will do exactly what I am told 1,000 times correctly while people are failing around me. Failing, I don't know, whatever. Flowery language, who cares? I will do what I'm supposed to 1,000 times correctly, and the one time I mess that up, then it's like, "Cameron, how could you? What is wrong with you? You are letting everybody down." And I'm like, well, I'm going to kill myself now. Like, that's like the level of escalation we're talking about. I am so, like, traumatized from getting yelled at of, like, nobody's gonna care about you if you keep acting like that. That just, like, that instant, like, boom, like, you messed up. It's like, well, I let everybody down. I failed. I hate that. I hate that feeling of letting people down. And that's what I like so much about Tekken. And this applies to anything that like you do as an individual, whether it's like a fighting game or working out or I don't know, cooking, whatever we do for ourselves intrinsically are the things that enable us to become stronger. And in my case, right now I'm in this transitionary phase where I spent so much time worrying about other people. I've been feeling other people's pain while I've been hurt enough already. And the strength that I want isn't found in other people. It's found within myself. And the people who truly understand me and care about me, I like to think that they understand that and they support me in that way. But they don't do it for me. Because nobody can do these things for you. You, not me. Well, me too. Me and you. This is about everybody. You know? Come on. It's not that hard. But call it selfish or call it ignorance or call me like introverted or some other made up word that people use to describe somebody who's different. But I don't want to be good because of other people. I don't want to feel like the only reason I succeeded is because I happened to be in a room with 19 people who were better than me. In that room of 19 people, I want to be the best. It's not just enough to be mediocre. It's not just enough to get by. It's not just about being better. It's about being your best. It's about going beyond the person you were a minute before, little by little advancing a bit further with each turn. If there's a wall in your way, you smash it down. If there isn't a path, then you carve one yourself. And me, I've just been drowning this whole time. I've just been drowning in this massive ocean of self-pity, wallowing, making excuses and complaining that things aren't the way that I wanted to be. There I am, out stranded in this infinite ocean of darkness, and the only thing I'm doing is just treading water and waiting for somebody to come and help me. That's not how this shit gets taken care of. That's not how problems get solved. You ever read that book? That big book that starts with a B, that part where that dude like walks on the water and shit? That's what I gotta be. And I know how crazy that sounds. But genuinely, and I mean this, there's no point for me to do something unless I am the best at doing it. And that's where I get stuck. Because the reality of it is that I don't even care about Tekken that much anymore. I really don't. If I did, I would have been the world champion by now. I don't even care about my physical health that much anymore. If I did, my mile would be a lot better than 8. It's just that right now, the things that I care about are vague. And I'm scared. I'm horrified. Because I got all of this in me. I got this heart beating inside of me, but it's not beating fast enough. It's not beating hard enough. It's like the flames that make it pump, that send the blood all throughout my veins, are dying out. They're just steadily growing weaker and weaker because of contentment. Contentment isn't a real word, but I'm using it here right now because it's the only one that I can think of to describe how I feel, and people use dumb bullshit made up words to try to justify their misery. Somebody said like, "Oh, your problems are all lookism, Cameron." I had to Google that shit. That ain't a word. That's just some crap somebody made up to feel better about how bad their life is. If I open that window right now and go outside for a walk, there's a non-zero chance I could get shot. That could happen if I go out and I walk during the day. I could die of a heart attack right now. A meteor could land on my house and kill me. Do I sit around going like, "Oh, well, I can't go outside, man. They got meteorism out there." No. You go outside. So I'm not making some big giant point. I'm not trying to provide you with crazy, insane, life-changing advice that's going to fix all of your problems. What I'm doing here is the only thing that I know that I'm the best at doing. And that is being myself, saying the things that I know I believe are true. And right now, right where I'm sitting, I know for a fact that the way that I feel right now is who I actually am. And nobody else is ever going to change that. It doesn't matter who's in my way. And anything that happened before how I'm feeling right now that is influencing why I feel this way right now is irrelevant. Because the reality of it is that this is the way that I feel right now. It doesn't matter how much my dad yelled at me. It doesn't. Because it's so far gone that it doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't influence me anymore. I have to get over it eventually. Anything that makes me upset now, that is informed by previous events, cannot do anything to me right now. It cannot hurt me anymore. So, what grand point am I going to try and end things on? Because I can't think of one. I can't think of anything right now. That's why I'm scared. That's why I'm struggling to find that purpose. Because this heart inside of me is mine. And I need to believe in what I believe in. I can't take somebody's passion for my own. That's not going to make this heart stop aching. This pain that I feel every day, realizing I'm not living up to my true potential. I just want to feel my heart again. I want to feel it beating out of my chest. I want to be in that moment again. That moment wherein I feel my heart beating. And I know that finally it's time for me to try. Because I don't try. I never try. I have tried hard 2 times in my life. One time was state speech in high school. I tried very hard to win that, and I did. That's a separate video. There's a lot of things that are separate videos. And the other time was in college, when I was finishing my screenplay. That was maybe 7 straight days of nonstop work, and even then, that's nothing compared to what some people do every single day. But even then, I had fun doing that. I had fun writing that screenplay. But did I have fun with state speech? No, I didn't. I hated it because I was scared. I was scared that if I try, if I put everything that I have into something, that I might still fail. That even if I try my hardest and I put my whole soul into it, it might still not be good enough. But no matter how hard it gets, even if it takes longer than you ever thought it would take, and even if it's harder than you'd ever imagined, and even if the load is heavier than you can bear, and you've given all that you've given, and you've given all that you've got, and it still isn't enough, you take one more step. You run one more lap, and you throw one more punch, and disregard how much more that it takes. And that's me. It doesn't matter how empty inside I feel. It doesn't matter how hard that sensation of being scared that I'm not good enough feels. No matter who's in front of me, no matter what looms above me, I'm always going to throw one more punch. Regardless of how much more that I have left. And so what is there to say at this point? Just that even if right now these rusty gears in my heart feel like they're never going to turn ever again, and I don't know who I am, and I don't know what I believe in, I know that someday those gears will spin again. And I'll know who I am, and I'll finally understand why I was born. Because even if I don't know what it is right now, I know that it's something so much more than this. And I don't want to die without figuring that out. So, thanks for watching. You can leave a comment if you want. You can like and subscribe if you want. I don't know. I guess I have to say that to play us out. Thanks for watching.